Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Careertainment, and thank you for watching and subscribing. Now, in a couple of videos in this series, we've kind of discussed about revealing your individuality so that you perform the best at your workplace. And the process of revealing your individuality we discussed was all about knowing the 5 layers of your body and working on each of them deliberately and specifically so that the best from inside of you comes out. Now, in addition to knowing the 5 layers of your body and working on them, there's another parallel concept that we need to be aware of, and that is about the 8 steps of yoga. And when the 8 steps of yoga and knowing the various layers of your body are put together, you make fast progress towards revealing your individuality and performing better at workplace, or in fact better at anything that you do. So in today's episode we will look at the 8 basic steps of yoga. Many of you must have already heard of it, but maybe for them it will be a revision, but let's look at that. The first step of yoga is something called as Yama. Yama is about your interaction with your external ecosystem. Now, in your workplace, your external ecosystem consists of your boss, your peers, your subordinates, your teammates, everybody, and you need to deal with them on a day-to-day basis. If you're aware of the concept of Yama, then your interaction with that ecosystem becomes extremely efficient. In fact, a lot of practical problems get sorted. Now, we are all humans and we deal in organizations, right? So, for example, stealing credit is one of the most common and unfortunate situations that we come across. Now, if you're aware of the concept of Yama, within that is a small concept of Ashteya. So if you know the concept of Yama, then you will be able to deal with this issue about stealing credit in the most non-obtrusive, intrusive manner to the best of your ability, and that's a guarantee. The next step in the yogic process after Yama is that of Neama. Again, very few people talk about Neama, but a very important step. This is all to do with your individual disciplines in your day-to-day life. Now, in your workplace, very important to solve day-to-day problems. For example, toxicity at workplace, toxic bosses, toxic colleagues, toxic subordinates is an issue we commonly hear of, right? Now, if you're aware of the concept of Neama, it deals with a small concept within that called Shaucha. Now, Shaucha is not just about having a clean toilet. It's much larger, right? It's about larger cleanliness. Now, if you know about the concept of Shaucha and the concept of Neama, which is the second step, you'd be able to deal with any toxicity in any organization and come out clean. Yeah, so that's how important the second step is. The third step, let's not talk too much about it because all of you know, is the concept of Asana, or the third step, Asana. Asana has got everything to do with your physical body or your Annamaya Kosha, making your body strong and flexible at the same time. Now, all of you must be practicing some kind of asana, so let's not discuss it in this video. You already know a lot about asana. The next step is called Pranayama. Again, a very famously known step. A lot of people do the practice, but it's not just a breathing practice. Pranayama is much more than a breathing practice. It's about rebooting your operating system. Now, a lot of parallel operating systems work inside of our body, our respiratory system, our circulatory system. This is an important step to reboot every operating system on a day-to-day basis. From an organizational perspective, pranayama is directly correlated to creativity, and creative problem solving is one of the most critical success factors in today's enterprises and organizations. So pranayama directly related to creativity. The fifth step is something called as Pratyahara. Again, not a very well-known step, but very important. Pratyahara is all about sense control, and we will come to this step in detail when we go forward in our practice, right? But Pratyahara is about sense control. So if your EMI is always expanding to match your salary, then it's Pratyahara that you need to practice, right? And that's how important this step is. After Pratyahara, the next step goes into the mental phase, right? Like here it goes from Annamaya Kosha to Pranamaya Kosha to Manomaya Kosha, etc. Here it is going from Yama, Neama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara to the mental state, which is called the Dharana. Dharana is all about focus, focusing your mental energies on something that you do on a day-to-day basis. Now, all of you know as leaders and executives that how important focus is in doing anything at your workplace. So if you start practicing Dharana, then be sure that the focus improves, and we will come to this practice at when the time for this practice comes, right? And of course, the last step is something called as Dhyana. Everybody has heard of Dhyana, but Dhyana is not about meditation. In fact, it's much more than meditation, far deeper. Dhyana is talked about since our childhood, right? And for those of you who talk in Hindi would have heard this, dhyan se ye karo, dhyan se wo karo. Now, it's been colloquially spoken ever since you were a kid, but you took it lightly. But it's very important and has a deep, deep, deep spiritual significance, this concept of Dhyana. So that is the 7th step called Dhyana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and of course, it's called Ashtanga Yoga. So 8th step, and the 8th step is something called as Samadhi, but then you don't need to discuss that. That's when you reach that step, you've arrived. So if you know these dual concepts, the 8 steps of yoga, and knowing the 5 layers of your body, you can start taking that step-by-step approach towards revealing your identity, individuality, and performing beautifully at your workplace. The kind of benefit that you will accrue to you is just unimaginable. You will see as we take it one step at a time. We'll look at the composition of the various layers and how each of these steps applies to those layers, and I'm sure you'll not miss out because you'll subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on any video. I'd love to hear from you about your feedback. Until we meet again, take care, and bye for now.